fast-moving fire has erupted in the hills above Oakland, California. Fueled by 60-mile-an-hour winds, it explodes through expensive hillside neighborhoods in minutes, forcing thousands to flee.
Coming out! Get off the tree!
Hundreds are trapped in the fire's path, cut off from escape by narrow canyon roads, quickly jammed with cars.
It was pandemonium. I mean, it was panic. People were running on foot.
The fire, which just seemed to pour down the hill, almost like somebody had a bucket of fire.
It didn't matter which way you looked, left or right, up or down. I mean, the flames were all over.
As the fire intensifies, homeowners abandon their cars and run for their lives. It will become the most destructive and costly fire in the United States in 80 years. Yet its origins were in a minor brush fire firefighters thought they had extinguished the day before. But when gale-force winds suddenly strike the San Francisco Bay Area, smoldering embers from that small fire are whipped into an inferno. Fed by thick brush, flames as high as 100 feet race over the hillsides at 60 miles an hour. Rescue efforts are hindered by fire engines too wide to easily navigate the narrow canyon roads. A menacing plume of smoke turns daylight into darkness and conceals escape routes from Dr. Jan Corwin and his family.
It was like midnight, and people were running up and down the street and screaming, and fire was everywhere, and you really couldn't tell which way to go. And at this point, I mean, total panic had set in.
For many, there's no time to salvage precious belongings. The fire is upon them.
I think that if I would have wasted another minute trying to save some important pictures or articles, I think it could have cost us our lives.
Firefighters now have another serious problem. The water supply for the hills rests in water tanks that are filled by water pumped up from reservoirs below. The tanks supply enough water at the beginning of the fire, but the pumps that refill them are inoperable because the fire has destroyed the power lines. Hydrants now run dry, and the firefighters are forced to retreat. The fire now bears down on a 400-unit apartment complex. Residents have almost no time to react. The images TV cameraman Steve Carollo captures are portraits of terror.
People were frightened. People were scared, and I'd never photographed that kind of fear before.
In the pandemonium, Carollo notices a young boy all alone. He is scared and lost in the inferno until a volunteer guides him to safety.
The images were so compelling that I kept walking in, and it just became more and more fascinating to look at.
The fire hits the apartment complex with such overwhelming fury that firefighters retreat, hoping to contain the flames elsewhere. While videotaping, Carollo gets trapped in the thick smoke and has to use a fire hose as a lifeline.
I just kept the camera rolling as I ran along a fire hose, because I always figured if I followed a fire hose, I would eventually end up at a fire truck or at a fireman.
The hoses lead him to firefighter Larry Rosso.
My God, I've never seen anything like that!
Both men are now in danger. Gusting winds have changed the fire's direction, and it's heading straight for them. The monstrous fire in the Oakland Hills is consuming homes at a rate of 3 a minute. Trapped at a large apartment complex, the situation is a desperate one for firefighter Larry Rosso.
You know, you could be in a safe position 1 minute and the burning embers start a fire behind you, and you're in a situation where you're trapped. And I'm thinking that this is not good.
Rosso and TV cameraman Steve Carollo are in growing jeopardy as the fire closes in on them.
And I thought that at that point, this is going to be the make it or break it. If it drops down to ground level, we're all going to go.
But the gusting wind pushes the flames high over them. They are scared, but survive. By nightfall, nearly 3 square miles of Oakland are engulfed. The fire consumes everything in its path, and thousands of homes burned.
And you felt helpless. And here you're the fireman. You're the last hope that the people have that you can stop it. And nature, it wasn't going to let us do it.
Dawn finally gives the firefighters the break they need. The winds die down, slowing the spread of flames. It takes 3 days and the aid of an additional 1,000 firefighters from around the state, but the Oakland Hills fire is finally extinguished. It claims 25 lives, including a firefighter and a policeman, and causes $2 billion in damage. 2,500 homes are destroyed.
It looked like a thermonuclear device had gone off in the canyon. It burned everything so fast you had to see it to believe it.
Residents return to what's left of their homes, sifting through the ashes. Neighbors comfort one another. The tragedy brings families like Dr. Jan Corwin's closer together.
We tried to make it a learning experience and trying to apply, trying to be thankful for every day that we're alive and appreciate that we didn't get burned, killed, or maimed.
In time, most homes will be rebuilt. And Larry Rosso will work to ensure that the fire has a positive legacy, that people know how to help prevent similar disasters in the future. Dry brush is now cleared away regularly. The Oakland Fire Department has smaller vehicles that can navigate the narrower canyon roads, allowing them to respond where they couldn't before. And the power lines that feed the reservoir pumps are now buried underground, safe from fires. Still, there was a lesson in all this. Those who choose to live in a wooded, mountainous area to escape the city should know that wildfires are a part of their new environment. In this case, learning that lesson came at an extremely high price.